Hello, I'm Archbishop Jeremy Greaves and I'm here with former Army chaplain and veteran Rob Sutherland to commemorate Remembrance Day.
While serving as an Army chaplain, I met Cam. Cam was 23 when he went to war in Afghanistan. Married with 2 very young children, he'd been in the Army for 3 years. In Afghanistan, he was a bushmaster driver, taking all sorts of people out on dangerous patrols. Cam lost several mates in Afghanistan. One was killed in a helicopter crash, and another, Ben, was shot when their convoy was attacked. Cam helped carry Ben's body back to base. War is tough, and Cam was in the toughest parts. Everyone said he was a good soldier. In Afghanistan, Cam was so busy he didn't have much time to think. War was hard, brutal, and scary, but he never felt alone. Everyone knew Cam was a Christian. He had a cross painted on his helmet and his Bible always in his pocket. Cam prayed in the chapel before and after every mission, and even in the darkest times, he could feel God's presence with him. For Cam, war was hard, but coming home was much harder. Suddenly, Cam felt very alone. He came home to his wife and young children, but they now seemed like strangers. He still loved them dearly, but he didn't know how to talk to them. He didn't even feel as if he deserved to hug and kiss his beloved wife. Cam's guilt overwhelmed him. He asked himself, why did I survive when Ben was killed? Why didn't we stop the Taliban? Why did we come home before the job was finished? Cam's post-traumatic stress disorder, including the night bears, just got worse. He left home because when he screamed in his sleep, it frightened his wife and children. Cam tried lots of things to take his pain and guilt away, but exercising to the point of collapse, adventure sports, alcohol and drugs didn't help. His pastor, who he'd known since youth group, didn't listen. He just told Cam that he was a sinner and that God was ashamed of Cam's army service and what he had become. Cam just wanted to die.
The 2024 Royal Commission into Defence and Veteran Suicide heard the stories of many soldiers like Cam. The Royal Commission's report explains that each year in Australia, nearly 80 veterans die by suicide, including those who have been to war and those who haven't. Sadly, too many veterans have had similar experiences to Cam when they've tried to engage with the church. This is true here in southern Queensland as well. Book after book tells stories about veterans who felt comforted by God during their war service, only to be rejected by their churches when they came home and needed support and God's healing.
In Mark chapter 5, Jesus encountered a Roman veteran. The veteran couldn't live at home, so he lived in a cemetery amongst the tombs of his dead mates. He screamed out in the night, smashing, bruising himself with stones to take away his memories, pain and guilt. But Jesus actually listened to the man before healing him of his moral injury and spiritual wounds, of his guilt and pain. Later, the villagers were astonished to find him healed.
In our recent synod, we heard from veterans and their family members about how they have been let down by the church, how they have been pushed away in times of greatest need and have not been offered the care and support they have needed. Courageous veterans like Cam serve and go to war because they love us and are prepared to do tough things, including putting their lives on the line. Jesus says that no one has greater love than to lay down one's life for one's friends. Remembrance Day provides an opportunity to pause in gratitude for what veterans and their families have sacrificed for the rest of us. It also provides an opportunity for us to think about what that gratitude might look like in practical ways, so that veterans and their families feel supported and cared for and are able to heal and thrive. As the Royal Commission report says, we all need to do better. There are practical things we can all do. And I will certainly be thinking about what I can do to better support veterans and their families. The first thing we can all do is show veterans and their families our gratitude. We can all say, thank you for your service to veterans, and we can all pause on Remembrance Day to remember their love and sacrifice.
Like the Roman veteran, Cam, whose story I shared earlier, found places where he could share his guilt and pain and experience God's healing. Cam found the program Warrior Welcome Home and a welcoming church. Because of this support, Cam has been able to move back home, to love and be loved by his family. There are simple things we can all do to support and heal veterans and their families. We can become safe places for veterans and their families, like we did after World War I.
We can remember them.
We can host a dinner for veterans and their family in our church hall.
I can find out more about the Royal Commission's recommendations and incorporate these into my Anglican focus work.
I can create spaces for veterans and their families to share their stories.
I can support theological students at St Francis College who are interested in exploring a vocation to ADF chaplaincy.
We can pray for the ministry of the chaplains at Enoggera Barracks just down the road here from the parish. We can also put on a service for veterans and their families.
I've done the mental health first aid training and I can help veterans with mental health first aid.
I will warmly welcome veterans and their families into our community church with great joy.
God wants us to care for our veterans and their families.